Namaskaram everyone. Welcome back to the English Q&A session for the Devi. So if you guys have any questions in English, please ask. Today is the Mahasaptami. So we are slowly moving into the most important night of them all, Mahasaptami and Mahanavami. Okay. So I have a question here regarding the semen retention. So what I wanted to tell you is, if you are not a brahmachari, if you are living in a family situation and everything, you need to ask yourself, do you really want to retain the semen or not? That's a question you need to ask. If you have decided, that's a good thing. If you're just coming out of the curiosity, then you just need to understand that what you call as this human body is actually the result of so many things, your food, the 5 elements exchange that is happening with your physical body. There's a life energy within yourself and everything. So if you are really doing your kriyas and everything, if you are doing a kriya, that basically means you are trying to transform your pranic energy into the spiritual energy. So if you want to do that, then semen retention plays a very, very big role. Okay, but again, completely depends upon what kind of food you are also eating. Also matters a lot. Okay, because you have to eat high pranic food and everything, and Sadhguru says that a semen retention is one of many ways of retaining your energies. Okay, so closing your eyes is another way, eating portion pranic foods are another thing. So semen retention is just one more ways of how to preserve your energy so that you can transform them into the spiritual energies. Sadhguru says that in yoga, the semen is considered as the vajra. So it's very powerful because it's a life-making energy. Okay, so you can transform that into it. So that is the only thing I can talk about. You can read whole lot of things about these kind of things everywhere. Okay, I have received a question that Sadhguru is going to bring various process or sadhana or yantras that will work better for various purposes other than living peacefully. Okay, you need to ask Sadhguru about that. Okay. Now this is the question I've been asking you, telling that, how do I maintain brahmacharya as I am not able to control it? What should I do? You should get yourself damn busy. Okay, get yourself busy all the time. If you keep yourself busy, then you don't need to worry about the brahmacharya. Okay, you'll not have enough time. For example, people who are doing, let's say a work 24 hours, 18 hours or something like that, who are doing volunteering all the time. Or even people who are preparing for the samyama, you have to do 5-6 hours of sadhana, or let's say 10 hours of sadhana and everything. Then, so get yourself busy with sadhana, do volunteering, and with your work, and explore a lot. Okay, travel in a group with the meditators wherever you can, go on the yatras, all that kind of stuff. Get yourself busy. So if you get busy, you don't need to worry about that brahmacharya thing. The more you think about that thing, the more you will lose. Okay, it is how things works. Okay, because your mind, as Sadhguru says, that your mind does not know what is addition and subtraction. So people people who fall in love and had a crush or something like that, they cannot forget about the another person. Okay, so it is how things works. Even the people who want to get rid of the alcohol and everything, they are fighting hard. That's why like they cannot do it. But if they can find something more important than alcohol, yeah, it will be fine for them. So what are the other ways to connect with Devi other than this study? So I'll just give you like a few of the things that I did. Few of the things is like do the Devi sadhana. That is one thing. Volunteering, especially. Go for Buddhishuddhi Viva is happening around you. Like attend that. Punya Puja is happening. Attend that. There are like every like a Purnima. There's a like a Devi Yantra Puja actually happens. You go there with the volunteers. If you cannot go to anywhere else, like if you just want to do it at home and everything, then get yourself a picture of a Devi first thing, and then after that, you can do, very easy. Do Devi Stuti. You can increase the cycle up to like 11 cycles. You can do that. The another thing is, of course, like a Devi Dandam you can do, and you can also do the Achala Arpanam, and of course like Devi Arati. If you just do these 4 things, these are more than enough. If you do regularly, like if you want to do it, like do it in the evening. Okay, evening is the best time to do sadhana of the Devi. People didn't actually ask that question, but. So hopefully like somebody is going to ask that question. So basically like you do the sadhana in the Devi. So initially like it might be a little bit difficult, but like as you do it regularly and everything, slowly, you'll become like a far more receptive to access Devi. So like it will be much more easier for you. So if you want to go to Kailash with Sadhguru as volunteers, like speak with Isa Sacred Walks. Okay. Okay, I have got like a question called like a Rakta Shuddhi. Don't get into these things and everything because like I said earlier also, like most of the people are like just interested with terminologies and these things and everything. See, this terminology has come because I think like I do not know whether you guys have watched the Sadhguru exclusive or not, and how many of you have actually attended the triple I consecration of the Devi. Okay, so I'll not go too much deeper into that one because like I cannot share too much details and everything. But what I wanted to tell you is like, see, if you look yourself not as a like spiritual seeker, but as trying to explore mysticism. Okay. Of course, like it has got spiritual aspects also, but if you are looking from the perspective of the mystical aspirant, and then you want to explore the other dimensions and everything, then you look this body. If you are looking for a liberation, you have to look this body as a prison. That is the only way to look into it. Okay, because if you don't look this body as a prison, then you may never get liberated. That is how it is. Okay. But now, like, if you are talking about, like, things like Rakta Shuddhi or Bhuta Shuddhi and all that kind of stuff, then that basically means, like, you are not only interested in spirituality, but also want to explore mysticism, like what this life is all about. So that is where, then like you will not only look this body as a prison. It's a very beautiful prison. That's why like most of the people will forget about they are in the prison. That's why they take a lot of selfies. They wear a lot of clothes. They enjoy the physicality and everything. That's a different thing altogether. Okay, you can enjoy consciously. That's a different thing altogether. But now if you are a mystical aspirant, then you are not only looking your physical body as just the prison, but also look as an instrument. Okay, so a yogi, a kriya yogi, or a person who want to become a siddha, want to have a mastery, and crazily enough, tomorrow is the night of the siddhis, is the Mahasaptami. So if somebody is looking forward for the mastery and everything, then they will be looking this body as an instrument. So your instrument is going to work best only when it is well calibrated, it is well oiled, it has certain integrity in your system. Okay, for example, like if you want to use oil in your system and it has got certain kind of mixture, then like your system is not going to work very well. Okay, for example, like for me, like this glass, what I'm wearing is also an instrument, because like it allows me to see things very clearly. If it is not very well calibrated, and like if it is not properly prescribed, then like I won't be able to see properly. So this is where this Bhuta Shuddhi and Rakta Shuddhi also comes into the play. Bhuta Shuddhi is of course like a very, very powerful tool. Just like Sadhguru says, like Bhuta Shuddhi is the foundation for all Hatha Yoga practices. Okay, because how much mastery you have over your like 5 elements define whether this physical body is a trap, or you can attain to something known as the Bhuta Siddhi. Okay, Bhuta Siddhi basically means you have mastery over your 5 elements, and you become a Bhuteshwara, or mastery of the 5 elements, or like beyond the 5 elements. Now, when it comes to the Rakta Shuddhi, so Sadhguru used this word in the context of, if you want to give a birth to a deity, okay, then you should not have your own karmic imprints. Yes, you don't want that to happen in the system. So that is what it is, the meaning of Rakta Shuddhi, because blood is not just the blood. Like if people will say, okay, like the blood is just, O positive, B positive, A positive, AB positive, AB negative, whatever it is. But the blood actually contains the, the genetic patterns, the evolutionary memory, and all that kind of stuff is also there. So Sadhguru used this terminology in the context of, if you want to consecrate a very powerful form, you have to distance yourself from your evolutionary memory, your physicality, your genetic memory, and so on. And only then you will be able to capable of giving birth to a deity. Okay, so Rakta Shuddhi is a process through which you can purify and create a distance from your genetic and your evolutionary memories. Okay, just like Bhuta Shuddhi is going to create the distance from your elemental memory. Okay, so certain kind of mastery is needed. You may not be able to keep it clean all the time, but you can create certain kind of distance. And that's how it is. And now when Kailash Tirth will be available, like it's already available. Like you can speak with the, watch out for the Isha Life. It should be available there. I have a question regarding like anger and sadhana. Okay, right. So if you do the sadhana without creating the necessary ambience, then anger, guilt, fear, jealousy, all these things are going to be natural. Because like anger, why anger is coming? Because you started comparing, isn't it? Yes. If you do not compare, like where's the need of anger? If you don't compare, like where's the need of greed? If you don't compare, like where's the need of fear? If you don't compare, where's the need of the jealousy? So before doing the sadhana, again, I should not be giving this recommendation, but why I'm telling you this is because in all the stories you'll see that the asuras can actually do more powerful sadhana than any of the gods. Okay, they might be doing like as much sadhana as the rishis, okay, or even the humans per se. But the problem with them is like they can do a whole lot of sadhana, but their intention is wrong. Okay, so that is the reason like we have been given certain kind of tools that you should use before sitting for the sadhana. Okay, it is very, very important that you maintain a certain kind of ambience before you start doing your sadhana. Okay, if you are doing the sadhana with a wrong kind of intention and everything, then how much sadhana you do, like the progress, I don't want to answer that part, but yeah, you should need to keep your, intention correct. For example, like the easiest way is like be as inclusive as possible. Okay, have the intention of the inclusion, because the only difference between the Shiva and then the asuras is asuras are very powerful, but they are very exclusive. Okay, they only think about themselves. Okay, but if you look into the Shiva, he thinks about everyone. He does not discriminate between the devas and asuras. Depending upon people's karma, like he's there to bless them. Okay, so don't try to be exclusive and don't think only about yourself. Try to think about everybody else, because the reality is never exclusive. It's always inclusive in nature. So I'm receiving like a lot of questions like how to do my sadhana and everything. Like I mentioned, I'm not the perfect person or the correct person to answer your question. If you are doing the Hatha Yoga, speak with Hatha Yoga teacher. If you are doing the Kriyas, speak with the Swamis or Ishangas and everyone. So, Anna, can you talk about different ways of approaching the Devi and seeing Devi as a mother? Okay. See, the best way of approaching the Devi, again, like don't take my recommendation and everything. My experience can be limited, and the way I'm explaining can also be limited and everything. If you approach the sadhana as a tool to impress everyone, okay, then there's no difference between the Shiva, there's no difference between you, there's no difference between the Guru, there's no difference between the Devi, okay, because the entire consciousness is actually reverberating as different beings, okay. It only looks different from the memory point of view. Okay, so that is one aspect of it. But if you want to approach Devi, just focus on your sadhana. Just do your sadhana. That is more than enough. Don't try to bring this like a narrative that like how you need to see a Devi as a mother or daughter or anything. See, we become a spiritual seeker because we want to break the limitations. Okay, now you nowadays like again, I should not be saying this, but people initially like I do not know like why people become a seeker. Initially they will think that okay, I'm going to stay alone and I want to do the sadhana. Then they go to the ashram or like they go on volunteering or some yoga trip or something, and they meet someone and slowly they started forming the family. People leave the family at home and then they go to the ashram and start creating a family. Okay, I'm not judging anyone. I'm not saying like this is right or wrong or anything. I'm just telling how things works. Now, you want to make God also your family member. This is not the right approach. Okay, this is not the right approach. So you simply commit to your sadhana. That is more than enough. Okay, but if it works for you to see the Devi as a mother, It's really good because one of the name of the Devi's various names of the names of the Devi is she is called as the mother. Okay, but now this is a paradoxical thing because calling Devi a mother is an oxymoron. Okay, because the entire existence is a mother. The entire existence is a Devi, just like I discussed earlier. The entire existence is a Sakti. The entire existence is the manifestation of the feminine energy. Okay. What we refer as a masculine energy or the Shiva is the dormant energy. Okay. He is known as the Purusha. Okay. The Devi is known as the Prakriti, and whatever you see as the existence that is made up of all the 5 elements and everything is basically the Devi herself. Now, being said that, do you think like you are different or like same as the existence itself? Okay, you are just a part of the existence, isn't it? Yes. So in a way, there's no difference between you and the Devi, but the only difference is in terms of the energy and then the consciousness. Okay, so it's a paradoxical word, but we refer, Shiva as the father and then the Devi as the mother. So approaching is good, but the most important thing is just like committing to the sadhana, as the Guru has said, is far more important than using the mind and then the emotions and everything. That is my take. Again, like my understanding can be limited. Okay, so whatever works for you is great. That's how we should look into it. Okay, Namaskaram Ashimana. Okay. So can you explain about Buddha Shuddhi Vivaha for someone doing Vajrayana sadhana and different Ishtadeva? Yeah, there's no problem with that one. When we were in a Kashi Yatra, we went to this place called the Deer Park of Sarnath, where Gautama Buddha decided to become the Guru for the first time. Okay, so he finally decided to become Guru for the first time, and it is a very special place, not only for the Buddhists, but for the entire humanity also, because he uplifted people that, gave you at least the idea that like there is something beyond the mind and body. So when we were sitting there, like one of the Anna actually asked me the question that, he said that like, the Buddhist methods are not, they are not like, the Sanatana practices. Okay. He said that like, they are not Sanatana practices, then how come they are going to work? He asked. And I told him that, you have to understand like what is a Sanatana practice and what is a Sanatan. Okay. In your life, your mind is going to change, your body is going to change, everything is going to change. Okay. Even your memory is going to change. Today, like you are this way, like after 10 years, like your life experiences, your memory is going to be different. The way you are going to look into the world can be different if you do not open your third eye. That's a different thing altogether. Okay. Now, keeping things short, we need to understand that like the only unchangeable entity or the element of your existence is the Sanatana. Okay, your ideas are not Sanatana, your body is not Sanatana, your mind is not Sanatana, nothing is Sanatana, your relationship is not Sanatana, nothing is Sanatana, but the creator within yourself, the source of creation within yourself, that is the only thing that is Sanatana. Okay, now whatever the practices that leads you to be in touch with the dimension of Sanatana are known as the Sanatana practices. Okay. Now, if you ask like, does the Buddhist practices leads you to that Sanatana dimension of it? Yes, 100%. Then the Buddhist practices are also Sanatana. Okay. So it's just the mind that gives you different names and forms and everything. Okay. What we actually refer as a spiritual dimension is beyond name and forms. It neither has names, it neither has forms. Okay. So referring, giving labels to different things, because as Sadhguru says, and even we also know that, the lingas that are, at least the Pashupatinath linga, is said to be 8,000 years old. Okay, so now if you look into the Kathmandu Valley in Nepal Mandala, if you look into the recorded history of the civilization, okay, it doesn't even go beyond very far. Okay, 3,000 years, 4,000 years back, we don't even know who was living in Kathmandu Valley, what language they are talking about, what they were speaking, what food they were eating, what types of sadhana they were doing. We have no idea. Okay, maybe some lineage still survived and that came into the being in many different ways, but still we have no idea about the civilization. So all the names and labels are given by the civilization. Why I'm telling you this is because whatever we actually refer as a Vajrayana sadhana and different Ishtadevta and everything, these are just names. Okay, you might be doing one kind of process and different kind of process. They all lead to the same dimension. Okay, so now looking into the compatibility about the Vajrayana sadhana and Ishtadevta, we don't need to worry about it because like I said, the spiritual dimension is beyond name and form. Whether you go through your Ishtadevta or go through your Vajrayana practice or Isha practice or Buddhist practice or any kind of practice, it is going to lead to the spiritual dimension of it. So now coming into the Bhuta Shuddhi Vibha, it's a very powerful process through which, as Sadhguru says, mentions that the two lives are weaved to become a single life. Okay, but as Sadhguru says that he can transform two life energies into a single life energy, but you have to keep your emotions and your intention going to keep the relationship alive. Yes, because just because you want to burn a fire, just having the wood and then the matchbox is not good enough. You have to keep pouring the fuel. You have to take care of the wind and everything. So whatever sadhana you are doing, you can go and do the Bhuta Shuddhi Vibha. Okay, and if you are planning to do it, congratulations beforehand. Okay. Okay, so Akai is asking what is a particular important thing to do? Just do your sadhana, because whatever the sadhana you are doing, you are looking towards the progress and then the fulfillment of that one, isn't it? Siddhi does not necessarily means that something completely different should happen. It's not like that. Siddhi basically means the mastery. Okay, whatever you are doing, you want to become more proficient and more better in that one. Okay, there are other aspects also it, but this is not relevant to the question, so I'll just ignore it. Just do your sadhana and do with more care as Sadhguru has recommended and the ashram has recommended. It will be great. Okay, I've got one question about pouring the ashes in Ganga or any sacred water. Life started in water, right, as per Darwin theory or per Dasavataram. Is the same to life again to that carbon ash? Yes and no. Okay, see, life is very, very paradoxical. Life is very, 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 very paradoxical. It's not very straightforward as logical terms and everything. Okay, see, you can look the existence as a single form. Okay, or you can divide it into multiple things also. For example, at the moment, just like we discussed earlier that entire thing is Shiva, entire thing is Shakti, and but at the same time, like we are all having 20 odd people here having this conversation and everything. So if everything is one, like how come like these 20 people come into the being? That question will come. Yes or no? Yes. So if you go logically, like it will not make any sense to you. Okay, it will not make any sense to you. If you refer the physical body as the absolute, then carbon matter and everything, all this kind of thing, makes sense. Okay, that if you think physical body is the only reality, then whatever you said makes sense, because everything is just the recycling of the 5 elements. Yes, yeah. You play the permutation, combination of the 5 elements, you get like a different things. Yes. So that's how like, all the existence has come into the play. Okay. Permutation and combination, nothing else. Permutation and combination of genetics and everything. If you look into this, all your genetics, they are all also like a physical in nature. Okay. But now, whatever we are referring about the life has nothing to do with your 5 elements. Okay. 5 elements are the necessary block to give the physical, form for the life. But the life can exist even without the physical form. The life does not necessarily need the carbon ash also. The life does not need the 5 elements also. You have to understand this part. Okay. So physical form is like just one of the aspects of it. There are many yogis who actually live in the subtle dimensions and everything, completely spiritual in nature. No physicality needed. Okay, but it's still alive. Okay. So the reason like why we actually pour the ash into the Ganga or any river or any confluence is basically you have to read the karma book as well as the death book. Okay. The reason why we are doing this is because we want to confuse the person who has just died. Okay. We want to confuse the being, because this also goes back to the Runanubandha question that one Akka actually asked, because if you see like once the person dies, there's no integrity in the body, because the being is dislodged from the physical body. The being can no longer return back to the body. Okay. Now, if the body is still intact and everything, then the being gets confused. Okay. It will hover around and try to, re-enter the body, which is completely futile, because the body is no longer habitable. But the physical body does not know, because why it is so is because like the physical body, since the being has been living in that body for a long period of time, the body now starts having the karmic imprints of this physical body. For example, like why, for some people, maybe like me, like, I travel a lot, and then I live in like many different houses and different hotels and different places and everything. For me, like sleeping anywhere else, like it's not an issue. But even after that, like when I come back my home after many days of travel and sleep, it's a completely different experience, which basically means like where you sleep. Also, you are living your, karmic imprints. You are living it there also, where you are actually, sleeping and everything. Like that way, like if you are living your karmic imprint where you are sleeping, you are living a whole lot of karmic imprint in this physical body also. So once you leave your body, because like if you try to come back to that body again and again, then depending on the intention and everything, it is going to create a lot of disturbance in people's life, other people's life, because of the Runanubandha. Okay, because a being is recognizing the another person only through the karmic information, and most of the karmic information is in your physical body, which is the earth element. So you need to, disintegrate that earth element, and then like, disintegrate and then spread across, so that, the being is confused. And it can move on. That is the main objective. So that is the reason it is spread in the river. There are many different ways, a different tradition does this different ways and everything, but that is the main reason. So it has nothing to do with taking the another form of the body, but helping in a way that that being will realize and at least come to this understanding that taking the body is a futile attempt. So it will become more conscious and headed towards the another dimension, towards a liberation. And that is the reason why Ganga is, because Ganga is not holy by itself, but because a lot of yogis have been doing the sadhana from time immemorial. So because of that reason, a lot of spiritual energy is there in the Ganga river. So the consecrated water and then disintegration of the body actually helps the being to move on. That is the main objective, not this taking the another form of the body, because even if you take 1,000 lifetimes different bodies, they are going to waste again. Okay, yeah, I think a lot of people have got a whole lot of time in their hands, which I don't have. I got another question that how to create a temple in our imagination. How can you clarify its design and visualize the small details more effectively? Again, don't try to waste too much time into this kind of things and everything. Just try to do your sadhana, try to be in the presence of the Devi and Sadguru and everything. But if you really want to do this, again, if you ask me, it's a waste of time for me. But if you really want to ask, you can do this. It is going to make your help you to develop your capability of your mind. Okay, very, very important. And Sadhguru says that this is also a part of the tantra itself, because this is a process of manifestation. Okay, but there are already too many temples, and Sadhguru is consecrating a lot of temples. Why not you spend your time in creating the actual temple and be part of Sadhguru's vision? That is more important than doing all these kind of things. Again, just my take. Okay. Yeah, regarding the ashes in the river, I have already given the answer. Okay. You put the ashes into the water so that the being knows that it's over. He cannot come back to the body. That's the main reason. It's not about giving the another life. Giving the in Sanatana Dharma, taking the another life is going back to the prison again. That means you didn't learn your lesson. You are going back to the nursery. See, I've got one question that continuing to the previous question, how does involvement, looking at consequence, apply to our choices regarding spiritual and sadhana given our lack of knowledge? You will always have incomplete information. Okay, you'll never have the full knowledge. You'll never have. Okay, you have to understand. So you will never have any information. You will never have. So the only choice you have is take your best decision and live with the consequences. You don't have any other choice. Okay, this is the thing you need to understand. So because of that reason, you have to do your sadhana so that you are balanced and everything. Now you want to make money, but you don't want to work. It doesn't work that way. You want to get married, but you don't want to have the responsibility of the relationship. It doesn't work that way. If you have to eat, you have to shit, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes, as straightforward as that. So if I go to this, what is going to happen, what is not going to happen, so you will always have incomplete information. Everybody has incomplete information. Even we don't even know what is going to happen next moment. Yes? Do we know? No, we don't know. So even if the next moment we do not even know, I'm even not scrolled all the way down. I have not seen any of the questions, but I'm just answering the questions here, isn't it? because I'm making use of my awareness and consciousness. Okay, so we'll never know what is going to happen next, but we can be as involved in the action so that, well, if you are not involved, you cannot do your best action, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. Only when you are involved completely, you can do your best. And again, like, when you act, like, you can succeed, you can fail. If you are doing for the first time, like, you are going to make a lot of mistakes and everything. So you have to learn from your mistakes or learn from other people's mistake. That is more important. Okay. Why I'm conducting all these podcasts all the time, like, it has been many years, is because I don't want other people to make my mistakes. Okay. So people take, like, why gurus start a spiritual process and everything is because they don't want other seekers to take as same amount of time, effort, and lifetimes as they did. Yes, that is the only reason. Okay, so that is how we have to see. Okay, so just do your best. You'll never know. Okay, nobody knows, but we just do whatever in our hands. We just do the best of our knowledge, and we'll see. Like, for me, like, at the moment, like, I'm just, like, involved in too many projects. There are something always come with, like, a higher priority and everything, and we just, like, shift attention and energy towards that direction. And when we are free, like, we'll try to come back to another one. Now, is it possible to do everything in the best way possible? Not possible. Okay, but we just need to, like, be conscious and see, like, what is more important at any given moment, and just act on that way. Okay, and for every action, like, there's a consequence. Okay, there's a consequence for everything. So you should be ready for that one. Connecting with the Devi has nothing to do with your mind. Your mind is useful only to know that, by connecting with the Devi, I can progress better in my life. That is the only thing your mind can tell. And after that, like, it's useless. Okay. The more useless your mind is, the better it is going to be. Okay. But if you go to the Devi and then you try to connect with the Devi, you try imagining Devi with, like, sitting on the tiger or lion with, like, a 10, 18 hands, like, too many heads, all that kind of thing. If you start using your mind, then you will not be able to connect anything, because Devi is the dimension that already exists within yourself. Okay, it is already exists within yourself. What you refer as a Devi, Shiva, Shakti, whatever you call, like, they already exist within yourself. The only thing is how to cultivate that and how to access that dimension, how to make it apparent. That is the only effort. So just thinking about the Devi, like, these things can also be done, like, if Guru is not there. So that is why, like, many people invented a lot of mantras and everything to chant all the time. But when the Guru is there, you just follow the instructions of the Guru. Okay, doing all these other kind of things is just the waste of time and energy. For people who are still seeking, does emotion cover clarity, awareness? No. Now, clarity is everything. Okay, because clarity allows you to go into devotion. Clarity allows you to the ability to surrender. Clarity gives you the ability to, be in the lap of the grace and presence. Okay. Now, if you refer as an emotion is always in a flux. Okay. Emotion is always between likes and dislike. Okay. Your likes and dislikes define your emotion. Okay. Now, if you make the emotion sweet, as Sadhguru says, it's called love. If you make it even more sweeter, it becomes compassion. So, but there is another dimension, something known as the devotion. Okay. So if you have a devotion, then spirituality is a win-win situation. You will never lose in devotion. Okay, so but if you are in a devotion, then you got only one clarity that like a devotion is everything. But if you think that like you will have a clarity of life, then you are mistaken again. Because clarity comes from the third eye, okay, which is beyond the duality. Okay, without opening the third eye, there's no clarity of life. Okay, we'll take like last three questions. Okay, I've already answered this question, like the difference between the Vairavi and then the Dasmavidya. So with the different kalpas, like different yogis will come, different civilization will come, and then different ways, the paddhatis, different ways of approaching the goddess has come in different kalpas. For example, like in the past, like Kalis were like very prominent in everything. In the 21st century, we are actually seeing that like more of the Tara is becoming more prominent than even the Kali. Okay. For example, there's a Kinara Moguri, Hingala's Mata devotee. There is, in Tarapet, there is also there. Okay. Bamkhepa is there. There is like another one, Dr. Ramnath Agudi is there. So in different kalpas, like different yogis will come, and they will give you a different approach and different ways. Some ways require like a whole lot of like a tantric rituals, tantric prowess, and it has got a lot of risks also involved. That is the reason like Tantra has always been considered as the double-edged sword. Okay, so it's not like yoga. Like in yoga, like you can make some mistakes and you still can get away. But in Tantra, like it's a different thing altogether. So if you look into the Vairavi, that is like consecrated by Sadguru, and it's the another way of accessing the feminine dimension, the Devi, in a new way, like in new kalpa, like a new thing will come. For example, like in the past, like people used to walk, then comes the chariots, rathas and everything, then comes the planes and everything. Now you might go into ask that, is the plane also belong to the chariots? That is how it doesn't work, isn't it? So it's the way to access the same dimension, but depending upon the different processes, different rituals, the gurus, and then the methods and everything, their possibilities are going to be completely different. Okay, so it might be the same dimension, but the ways to access and then the capabilities and the possibilities are going to be completely different. So you just need to keep in mind. Sadhguru has actually answered this question once, that the Vairavi in the Kamakhya and then the Vairavi at the ashram are consecrated in a completely different ways, because these are like completely different timelines, different centuries, different millennia, different yogis with like different lineages and everything. So don't try to play with the mind without knowing all this kind of thing. These are very common sense things. Okay, don't try to read from the book and everything, because what you read from the book, like most of the things are like a useless thing. Actually, I can tell you 100%. Okay, and mostly useless. Okay, and in the Instagram, like it's even more useless. Okay, I can guarantee that much. I do not know like whether I'll cry or like laugh looking into these things. Okay, congratulations, Anna, like for your brother also. Namaskar, Anna. How do you create a distance from mind? Like just follow the instructions of the Guru. Okay, until you do not arrive to that point, you just strive. You just strive. Do you think that like I'm sitting here and then speaking about all these things just because like I did a sadhana for 1 day or like 1 month or something like that? No, I did a whole lot of sadhana. Okay, I broke my mind, I broke my emotion, I broke my body, I broke my energy body. Like, you have to push to the threshold. Otherwise, like, it's not possible. Okay. So, the easiest way, again, if you are just asking for how to create a distance from the mind, just simply do miracle of the mind sadhana also. Okay. You can increase the number of minutes and everything. You just do it. How to know that sadhana is working or not? You'll know it. Okay. You'll know it. You simply do your sadhana. It is going to work. Okay. Ensure that like it is coming from the realized guru. You'll know it. If you really want to know like if your sadhana is working or not, you have to intensify it. Okay. Even if after intensifying it, you have to, if you want to intensify, what do you mean by the intensifying your sadhana? It basically means you use your jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, and kriya yoga, everything, throw everything all out. Okay. If you are impatient person, like go all out. Okay. Like there's no tomorrow. Okay. You have to go like that way. Okay, I don't know like where you are getting all these kind of questions. Okay, again, too many things coming from the books and everything. These are all funny kind of books, things and everything. Okay, what is the difference between staying in the subtle body or energy body and Mahasamadhi? Okay, so what you actually, as Sadhguru also said that like what you actually refer as the energy body is one of the layer of the subtle body. Mahasamadhi is the full stop. After that, like there's no subtle body, there's no energy body, there's no karmic structure. It's a end game. Okay, that is the goal of all the yogis, which is the Mahasamadhi. Okay, now staying in the subtle body, that will need certain kind of siddhi. Not everybody is capable of that one. And if you are capable of remaining in the subtle body yourself, then that is what we refer as yogis. But if you are unconsciously staying in the subtle body, then we call you as a ghost. Okay, so yeah. Where does one draw a line between imagination and experience? Okay, you cannot draw a line. The moment you draw a line, like it's the imagination only. Yes. So there's no such thing as drawing a line between imagination and experience, because even your experience can be false. Can be false, and it's usually the false. Okay. So don't try to draw a line between imagination and experience. Whatever you imagine and experience, just drop it. Okay. Why do you want to live in the past? Because what you actually refer as the imagination and experience is also of the past. Yes or no? Yes. You might have experienced something. You must have seen something, maybe in your dream or like during your sadhana or whatever it is. It is of the past. Why you are wasting your present moment by looking into the past? It makes no sense. Life is happening right this moment, isn't it? This moment, the life is happening. Why do you want to waste the present moment with the past? Okay, I've got like another kind of question is here. Okay, so Sadhguru is interested only for the transformation. Okay, he is only interested into the transformation, because whatever the physical things that you create, many yogis have come and wasted their life trying to transform the entire society. Okay, Lord Krishna is one of them. Okay, and many yogis has come. Okay, they wanted to make changes in the world and everything, but we have to understand that whatever the changes you have made in the society, it is never going to last forever. Everything is cyclical in nature. Okay, every civilization is going to rise, every civilization is going to fall. Rise, fall, rise, fall. It is going into the cycles. So yogis know that wasting, it's like focusing in the other things is it's all about like wasting your time and energy, focus and intensity. So he's interested only on the tools of transformation. That's why like he's consecrating so many energy spaces. If your intensity of your sadhana is receding, that basically means that like you have become an advanced meditator. Okay, don't become the advanced meditator. Go for the inner engine program again, and think yourself, ask yourself why you started doing the sadhana in the first place. Otherwise, like you will go back to the square one again. Okay, I think like we have come to the end of the Q&A session, and we spent like 1 hour, nearly 1 hour for the Hindi and 1 hour for the English. So thank you very much everyone for joining for today. Does yatras affect you or no? No, they don't affect. Why do you think that like they should be affecting me? Yeah. Otherwise, like I should not be conducting these yatras. We're just conducting these yatras because, there are so many people in the world. Very few people ask the question, but very few people really want to know. And yatra is a possibility for so many people like who come into the yatra where we can go a little bit further. Okay. And people who are coming for the yatra, like they experience firsthand, what we are talking about, and there are a whole lot of esoteric thing that we cannot share with everybody. Okay, it's not good to share with everybody. Okay, because last time, I was in the Pashupatinath, one of the very, secret place, with one of the meditator, and I told him that we need to ensure that like we share everything what we know with everybody. Okay, and we wanted to keep it alive, but till that moment like I was in a mode that like I want to share everything, and that is the reason like in the Sannidhi.net we stopped like adding the energy spaces and everything. Okay, we stopped sharing all the energy spaces into the Sannidhi.net for the same reason. Dharanna actually told me that it is not because they shared it is preserved, but it is because they are not sharing. That is how it is being preserved still. And these possibilities are open only for the people who are really, really willing. Because as the civilization changes, the rule of the law of the country changes, the places changes and everything. Okay, so the only way to protect few of the esoteric things is by keeping them esoteric. And if you really want to know, you have to earn it. Okay, without earning anything, you will not know the value. Okay, because I can see that so many of you are asking so many questions, but I cannot see a maturity in those kind of questions. Some of the questions it just looks like you just pick it up and then you started asking. Okay, before we close the session, I got a question here about the Arunachalam temple. I'm visiting in couple days. Please tell us about the temple. You can find a whole lot of information in the internet, but a few things you need to keep in mind is Tiruvannamalai is, you can say it's very close to me, even closer than Kailash, and I wouldn't say a Isha Center, but without the Tiruvannamalai, I would not have I would have never known the significance of the Isha Center and Kailash also. Okay, because it played a big role in my spiritual process and growth and everything. So Arunachalam temple, if you are referring to the one in Tiruvannamalai, it's a fire element temple. So I don't know like whether they will allow you to burn the fire and do the Buddha Shuddhi process over there, but you can do the Buddha Shuddhi process at your home, at your room, and then like you can go have a darshan of the Arunachaleswara temple, and you can sit in a meditation there for a certain period of time. There is also a Patala Lingam is also there. You can search about it. I think it's on the southern part of the gate. There's a next to a Nandi, big Nandi is there. There are multiple Nandis, but like there's a one huge Nandi towards the south gate of the temple. So close to that, on the right hand side, like where the Nandi is facing, towards the right hand side, there's a Patala Lingam is there. It is a place where after Ramana Maharshi got enlightened, and when he came to Tiruvannamalai, he went inside the sanctum sanctorum. He hugged the deity, and he threw his Janayu into the water tank, which is there. And then he went and then he meditated inside the Patalingam for a long period of time. Okay, so it's very powerful place. You can meditate there, Patalingam. And I will not go too much into detail into this one. So Tiruvannamalai is a one crazy place. Like there is, I would say like a Tiruvannamalai is the only genuine Shiva place in the world at the moment, if you ask me. Okay, the entire hill and the place is capable of creating so many realized beings. Okay, I think like this kind of place does not exist anywhere else. Of course, like Ishaka Center is coming up next, so hopefully like it will get there in more prolific way. But Tiruvannamalai is like insane, and we always take people for the yatra to Tiruvannamalai. I cannot discuss furthermore, but yeah, you can Google, of course, like a whole lot of things about that. All right, thank you very much, and namaskaram everyone, and happy Navaratri. So from tomorrow, the Mahasaptami and Mahanavami is beginning, and of course the Vijayadashami. Okay, so thank you very much everybody for joining in. I wanted to discuss more about the Devi, but I think you guys do not want to know about the Devi. Yeah, okay, so it's good anyways, nevertheless. Okay, namaskaram everyone, and good night.